Yes, you are witnessing the species that made the dinosaur world tremble with fear during the late Cretaceous. It is Tyrannosaurus rex, also known as T-Rex. With just a single bite, its enormous teeth could crush bone like dry branches. For millions of years, no creature on the ancient lands of North America dared challenge this predator. But on the other side of the planet, among the vast rivers of prehistoric Africa, another giant also ruled its own world. It was a creature carrying a strange sail-like structure on its back and possessing a body longer than any carnivorous dinosaur ever known. One was the tyrant of the land, while the other was the ghost of ancient rivers. What would happen if these two giants truly faced each other? In the imagination of modern humans, Tyrannosaurus rex and this dinosaur are often placed side by side like two colossal warriors. It is none other than Spinosaurus, the strange semi-aquatic predator. Could the bone-crushing power of T-Rex truly defeat it? To answer that question, we must travel back tens of millions of years, returning to the forests, swamps, and rivers of the prehistoric world. There, two completely different evolutionary stories created two of the greatest predators ever to walk the earth. But before we begin the journey, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss other fascinating videos. Imagine you are standing in a wild land about 68 million years ago. No cities, no humans, only ancient forests, vast plains, and gigantic creatures wandering everywhere. But in that world, there was one name that made every other creature cautious. That name was Tyrannosaurus rex. This name means king of the tyrant lizards, and that is not an exaggeration. In the ecosystems of late Cretaceous North America, T-Rex truly stood at the very top of the food chain. No predator was larger or stronger. When this dinosaur appeared, the surrounding world almost had to make way. A fully grown individual could reach a length of 12 or 13 meters. Its hip height was nearly 4 meters, roughly the height of a large truck. Its body weight could reach 8 to 10 tons. Each step it took sent vibrations through the ground. When moving through forests, small trees could snap simply because the massive body of T-Rex brushed past them. But what turned this dinosaur into a legend was not only its size. Its true power lay in its enormous head. The skull of T-Rex was longer than 1.5 meters. Inside that head was one of the most terrifying jaws in the history of land animals. Modern biological studies estimate that the bite force of T-Rex could exceed 50,000 to 60,000 newtons. That number was enough to crush the bones of almost any other dinosaur. The teeth of T-Rex were also unlike the sharp, knife-like teeth seen in many other carnivorous dinosaurs. They were thick, curved, and extremely strong. Each tooth could reach 20 or 30 centimeters in length. Their shape is often compared to gigantic bananas. But do not let that shape deceive you, because these were perfect bone-crushing tools. When T-Rex bit into its prey, the force from its jaws could not only tear flesh but also break through thick bones. Many fossils have shown the tooth marks of T-Rex deeply embedded in the bones of other dinosaurs. Some bone specimens even show that the bones had been crushed and then swallowed by the animal. This means that T-Rex did not only eat flesh. It could consume almost the entire body of its prey, including bones and marrow. The eyes of T-Rex faced forward. This was a rare trait among many dinosaurs. This arrangement created binocular vision, allowing the animal to estimate distance with great precision. For a gigantic predator, this ability was extremely important. Just a small mistake in the moment of attack could allow the prey to escape. Interestingly, one of the most controversial features of T-Rex lies in its tiny arms. Compared to its enormous body, the arms appear almost useless. But research shows that they were extremely muscular and strong. Each arm could generate a very powerful pulling force. Some scientists believe they might have been used to hold prey, assist the animal when standing up, or even play a role in mating behavior. All of these factors combined created a creature almost perfectly suited for the role of an apex predator. In the ancient plains and forests of North America, T-Rex was not just a large dinosaur, but a symbol of biological power. Giant herbivorous dinosaurs such as Triceratops or Edmontosaurus could wander the grasslands for millions of years. But somewhere in the shadows, a gigantic predator was always watching. And when Tyrannosaurus Rex appeared, the entire ecosystem seemed to remind itself who the true king of that land really was. If we look only at its size, many people might think Tyrannosaurus Rex was simply a large dinosaur. But when scientists studied its skeleton more carefully, an astonishing truth gradually emerged. The body of T-Rex was not the result of a random exaggeration of evolution. It was a hunting machine designed almost perfectly. First came the gigantic head. The skull of T-Rex was not only large but also extremely robust. The joints in the skull were reinforced with special structures that helped distribute the force during biting. This allowed T-Rex to generate enormous bite force without damaging its own skeleton. In other words, its head was like a biological hammer weighing hundreds of kilograms. Behind that head was an extremely powerful neck. Large neck muscles allowed T-Rex to jerk its head violently when biting. This created a terrifying tearing force, helping it rip flesh away from bone or break the bones of its prey. When combined with the strongest bite force ever known in land animals, the neck of T-Rex turned each attack into a devastating blow. But the strength of T-Rex was not limited to its head. Its entire body was built around a single goal: becoming an efficient predator. The torso of T-Rex was very thick and muscular. Large ribs formed a strong protective frame for the internal organs. Above that skeletal structure was a powerful muscular system that helped stabilize the enormous body during movement. The hind legs of T-Rex were particularly remarkable. These were the main weight-bearing structures of the entire body. The femur was thick and strong, the knee joints powerful, and the feet wide with 3 large toes equipped with sharp claws. This system allowed T-Rex to move steadily, even while carrying a body mass of many tons. For many years, people imagined T-Rex running at the speed of a sports car. Old films and illustrations often depicted it charging forward at speeds of more than 60 kilometers per hour. But modern research suggests that with its enormous weight, T-Rex could probably run at a maximum speed of about 20 to 25 kilometers per hour. That may sound slow compared with modern mammals, but for a creature weighing many tons, it was an astonishing speed. More importantly, T-Rex did not need to run extremely fast. It was not a long-distance pursuit hunter. Instead, its strategy may have been similar to many large predators today. Approach the prey at close range, then deliver an extremely powerful attack. In a direct confrontation, very few creatures could survive the first bite of T-Rex. The environmental sensing ability of T-Rex also played an important role in its hunting strategy. Its skull shows that the brain region responsible for smell was especially well developed. This means T-Rex could detect the scent of meat or blood from a very long distance. In the vast ancient forests, this ability functioned like a biological radar that helped it detect hunting opportunities. The hearing of T-Rex is also believed to have been quite sensitive. The structure of its inner ear suggests it could hear low-frequency sounds well. The vibrating sounds from the footsteps of large dinosaurs could travel through the ground and air. This allowed T-Rex to detect the movement of prey even when they were still far away. Even the long tail of T-Rex played an important role in its body design. Its tail was very heavy and full of muscle. But instead of simply dragging behind, this tail functioned like a gigantic counterbalance. It helped balance the head and body when the animal moved. Thanks to this, T-Rex could keep its body stable even when turning its head or changing direction suddenly. When scientists examined the entire body of T-Rex, they noticed something remarkable. No part was random. From the skull, neck, torso, and legs to the tail, everything served a single purpose: turning this creature into the most efficient predator in its ecosystem. While T-Rex dominated the vast lands of late Cretaceous North America, tens of millions of years earlier on the other side of the planet, another gigantic predator had emerged. That creature was Spinosaurus. If T-Rex was the symbol of power on land, then Spinosaurus was the gigantic ghost of the ancient rivers of North Africa. Around 95 million years ago, the regions that are today Morocco, Egypt, and Tunisia were not dry deserts. They were once a vast network of rivers, swamps, and waterside forests. The ancient rivers flowing through this land were filled with gigantic creatures. Large fish, ancient crocodiles, and many other prehistoric reptiles coexisted in an extremely dangerous ecosystem. And in that world, Spinosaurus was one of the most terrifying predators. The body length of Spinosaurus could reach 14 to 16 meters, even longer than T-Rex. When standing along the ancient riverbanks, it looked like a gigantic monster. Its long and narrow head stretched forward like the snout of a crocodile. But its size was many times larger than that of any modern crocodile. The feature that immediately made Spinosaurus stand out was the gigantic sail on its back. Its spinal spines extended up to nearly 1.8 meters, forming a tall structure resembling the sail of an ancient ship. When this creature moved under the prehistoric sun, that sail-like structure could become one of the strangest sights ever to exist in the dinosaur world. The exact function of this dorsal sail remains a mystery. Some scientists believe it helped regulate body temperature. However, others think it may have played a role in attracting mates or displaying strength to other individuals. Whatever its function, this sail made Spinosaurus one of the most recognizable dinosaurs in the fossil record. But what truly made Spinosaurus different was not only the sail on its back, it was the shape of its skull and teeth. Unlike T-Rex with its thick bone-crushing teeth, the teeth of Spinosaurus were long, sharp, and conical. They lacked serrations. This design resembles the teeth of crocodiles and modern fish-eating animals. This suggests that Spinosaurus had a very different hunting strategy. Instead of attacking large dinosaurs on land, Spinosaurus may have spent most of its time hunting gigantic fish in ancient rivers. Fossils discovered in the Kem region of North Africa show that fish at that time could reach enormous sizes. Some species measured several meters in length. For Spinosaurus, this was an abundant food source. Its long snout allowed it to sweep across the water surface like a biological trap. When a large fish swam past, the long jaws of Spinosaurus could snap shut extremely quickly, gripping the prey with dozens of conical teeth. On the surface of this dinosaur's snout were also special nerve openings. Scientists believe these structures functioned like sensors. They could help detect small vibrations in the water when prey moved. This made Spinosaurus an extremely effective hunter in aquatic environments. When looking at the entire body of this creature, one thing becomes clear. It was not simply a larger version of other carnivorous dinosaurs. It was a completely different evolutionary design. A design created for hunting along the boundary between land and water. While many other dinosaurs dominated plains and forests, Spinosaurus turned the ancient rivers into its own territory. For many decades, scientists believed that most carnivorous dinosaurs had fairly similar lifestyles. They were land predators that ran quickly, attacked directly, and lived mainly in forest or plain ecosystems. But when new Spinosaurus fossils were studied more closely in the 21st century, a completely different picture began to emerge. Spinosaurus was not just a large dinosaur. It may have been one of the strangest dinosaurs ever to exist. Fossil specimens discovered in the Kem region of North Africa revealed many astonishing details about the body of this creature. One of the most striking discoveries was that its bone structure was unusually heavy and dense. In many terrestrial dinosaurs, bones often contain numerous hollow cavities to reduce body weight. This helps them move faster on land. But in Spinosaurus, the bones were thick and unusually heavy. This type of bone structure often appears in animals that live in water, such as hippopotamuses or certain ancient marine reptiles. Heavy bones help stabilize the body when submerged and prevent it from floating up too strongly. This discovery led scientists to propose a bold hypothesis. Spinosaurus may not only have hunted near rivers, but might have spent most of its life in water. Further studies strengthened that hypothesis even more. Fossils show that the hind legs of Spinosaurus were significantly shorter than those of many other carnivorous dinosaurs. This gave its body a lower posture and shifted the center of gravity forward. On land, this structure was not an advantage for fast running. But in aquatic environments, it helped stabilize the body while swimming. One of the most impressive discoveries announced in 2020 involved the tail of Spinosaurus. In the past, many scientists assumed its tail resembled those of other dinosaurs, long and stiff to maintain balance while running. But new fossils revealed that the tail of Spinosaurus was completely different. This tail was wide, flexible, and shaped almost like a gigantic paddle. Biomechanical models suggest that this tail could generate powerful thrust when moving through water, similar to the way fish or crocodiles swim. This turned Spinosaurus into a creature capable of swimming very efficiently. When all of these characteristics are combined, a new image of Spinosaurus gradually emerges. This was not a dinosaur that only occasionally entered the water to drink or catch fish. It may have been the first known semi-aquatic dinosaur in the history of evolution. In the world of Spinosaurus, ancient rivers were not merely sources of water. They were the center of all life. There existed gigantic fish, and ancient crocodiles also wandered along the riverbanks. Beneath the murky water of these rivers, other predatory creatures may have lived, creatures we are only beginning to understand through fossils. In such a risky environment, Spinosaurus seems to have developed a survival strategy completely different from that of terrestrial carnivorous dinosaurs. Instead of running across plains to hunt gigantic herbivorous dinosaurs, it could quietly slide into the water, swim through ancient rivers, and ambush prey from beneath the surface. This makes Spinosaurus one of the most impressive examples of evolutionary diversity in the dinosaur world. Not all dinosaurs lived in the same way. Not all hunted in the same manner. Spinosaurus may have been the first dinosaur to turn ancient rivers into its own hunting territory. To truly understand the difference between T-Rex and Spinosaurus, we cannot simply look at their size or shape. What matters more is the world they lived in. T-Rex and Spinosaurus differed not only in their bodies, they were also born from two completely different ecosystems. First is the world of T-Rex around 66 to 68 million years ago. At that time, North America did not look like it does today. Instead of modern cities and fields, this was a vast land covered with ancient forests, wet plains, and large rivers winding across the continent. The warm climate, abundant vegetation, and plentiful food sources created a gigantic ecosystem where herbivorous dinosaurs grew to astonishing sizes. On these plains roamed herds of triceratops with large horns and massive bony shields protecting their heads. Edmontosaurus, more than 10 meters long, moved in herds of hundreds of individuals, feeding on vegetation and creating large paths through ancient forests. In other regions, heavily armored Ankylosaurus slowly moved through bushes, their enormous club-like tails powerful enough to break the bones of any predator that approached too closely. This was a world of gigantic prey, and that abundance created the perfect environment for the rise of T-Rex. In this ecosystem, T-Rex had almost no rivals. It stood at the very top of the food chain. But if we travel back several tens of millions of years further and move to the other side of the planet, we enter a completely different world. It is North Africa of the Middle Cretaceous. It was a land of enormous rivers, vast swamps, and complex waterside ecosystems. This ecosystem is known to paleontologists as the Chem-Chem beds. It is one of the strangest ancient environments ever discovered. Unlike North America, where herbivores dominated, the Chem-Chem region appears to have contained an unusual number of carnivorous dinosaurs. Besides Spinosaurus, there were other terrifying predators such as Carcharodontosaurus, a gigantic dinosaur with knife-like teeth. There was also Deltadromeus, a more agile carnivorous dinosaur that may have been capable of running at high speeds along riverbanks. In the water, gigantic fish such as Onchopristis swam through ancient rivers along with many large prehistoric crocodiles. In such an ecosystem, the boundary between predator and prey could sometimes become extremely fragile. A creature stepping down to the water to drink could become the prey of a gigantic crocodile. A large fish swimming near the shore could become the meal of Spinosaurus, and even land predators had to remain cautious when approaching the rivers. Because of the dense concentration of predators, many scientists have called the Chem region one of the most dangerous places ever to exist in dinosaur history. In this context, Spinosaurus was not simply a large dinosaur. It was part of an extremely complex river ecosystem where life revolved around ancient rivers. When comparing the ecosystems of T-Rex and Spinosaurus, the difference becomes clear. T-Rex evolved to dominate the land of North America. Spinosaurus evolved to hunt within the river systems of North Africa. Two different evolutionary paths, completely different environments. These two gigantic predators were created by two prehistoric worlds that were not alike at all. Yet it is precisely this difference that has made the comparison between T-Rex and Spinosaurus so fascinating to modern humans. In natural history, T-Rex and Spinosaurus never actually met. These two species lived about 30 million years apart. One species existed at the end of the Cretaceous in North America. The other appeared much earlier in the ancient river systems of North Africa. Yet despite that enormous gap in time, in the imagination of modern humans, these two creatures are always placed side by side like two colossal warriors of the same era. The reason is simple. They represent two types of ultimate predators in the dinosaur world. T-Rex is the symbol of pure power on land. A gigantic muscular body, a thick skull, and the strongest bite force ever known among land animals. Spinosaurus represents a completely different evolutionary direction. A predator carrying a gigantic sail on its back and adapted to aquatic environments. One is the tyrant of the plains, the other is the ghost of prehistoric rivers. This contrast is exactly what has made the question of a confrontation between the two one of the most debated topics among dinosaur enthusiasts. If these two creatures met, which one would win? To answer that question, scientists usually begin by comparing their body structures. T-Rex clearly had the advantage in bite force. Its jaws were designed to crush bone. A precise bite could cause extremely severe injuries to almost any animal. The skull of T-Rex was also much thicker and stronger than that of Spinosaurus. This allowed it to withstand strong impacts during attacks. In contrast, Spinosaurus possessed a longer body and long arms with sharp claws. In some situations, it could use its body length to maintain distance from an opponent. But the skull of Spinosaurus was more slender. Its jaws were designed to catch slippery fish in water, not to crush the bones of large dinosaurs. This means that in a direct confrontation on land, many paleontologists believe T-Rex might have the advantage. However, environmental context could completely change the outcome. If the confrontation occurred near a large river where Spinosaurus could take advantage of its swimming ability, the situation might be different. In water, Spinosaurus could move more flexibly. Its paddle-like tail could generate strong propulsion, turning it into a dangerous predator. Similar to modern crocodiles, Spinosaurus is believed to have been capable of holding its breath for a long time while ambushing prey. Once T-Rex lost balance and began to choke on water, the battle could end very quickly because T-Rex would have little ability to counterattack effectively while floating. In deep water environments, experts and simulation models often estimate the chance of victory for Spinosaurus to be as high as 95%. According to some hypotheses, if T-Rex were dragged into water deep enough that it could not touch the bottom, it might be defeated by Spinosaurus in less than 5 minutes due to exhaustion and drowning. The fascinating aspect is that this uncertainty is exactly what makes the comparison between the two species so compelling. No fossils record a battle between them. No evidence shows that they ever encountered each other. In films, games, and internet videos, T-Rex and Spinosaurus are often portrayed as eternal rivals of the dinosaur world. One is the king of the land, the other the monster of ancient rivers. Even though that battle may never have happened in natural history, it still represents a very compelling idea. A confrontation between two different evolutionary paths. And for that reason, in human imagination, Spinosaurus will always be remembered as the legendary rival of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tens of millions of years have passed since the final footsteps of T-Rex shook the ground, and the shadow of Spinosaurus glided across ancient rivers. Yet their story has never truly ended. T-Rex still stands in human imagination as the embodiment of absolute power on land. Spinosaurus continues to appear as a creature so strange that it challenges every image humans once had about dinosaurs. Two creatures, two completely different evolutionary paths, yet both became symbols of a vanished world. Even today, every fossil discovered continues to reveal new secrets about T-Rex and Spinosaurus. Perhaps one day science will help us understand more clearly how these two species lived, hunted, and disappeared. But perhaps it is the unknown that makes their story so fascinating. Somewhere beneath the ground of this planet, the bones of ancient creatures are still waiting to be discovered. Each new discovery could completely change the way we see the dinosaur world. If you want to continue exploring ancient giant creatures and mysteries that have never been solved, do not forget to press like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you will not miss the next journeys.